in and out of many a woman's bedroom, probably many a married woman's bedroom, so he's quite light on his feet. I didn't hear anything. His thick, celic mustache is masking his chewing sounds. I don't know what she's talking about, but... Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome and welcome back to Soap Floor, the official gathering place for newbies, novices, and OG diehard fans of the golden age of primetime. I'm your host, Jeff, viewing and reviewing one of the soapiest, subsiest primetime storylines of 1984 or 85. So whether you're new to this or true to this, sit back and enjoy. Tell the kids it's time to play outside or out of sight. Tell babe no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 35 minutes. Everyone else in earshot, cool, quiet, or kicked all the way out. I'm not playing with y'all today. We are watching our stories. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Soap Floor. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back, party people, or people who party to another fun-filled edition of Soap Floor. We're in Denver today. Put on your finest sateen robe, your comfiest socks, or if you're driving, baby, I guess get comfortable. I don't really know what to tell you. I know some cars have massage seats now. Quite frankly, that's just, baby, y'all to hear about every other day. They be like, Jet is once again in a ditch somewhere. Driving off the side of the road with just luxury. I would work from my car. I really would. First time I got cooling seats, baby, you couldn't tell me nothing. Especially growing up as a little kid in West Texas. God, the summers were so hot. You know, you could have window tinting, but that's irrelevant. The sun's gonna blaze through there. Cars are sitting outside for hours and hours at a time at a whopping 100, probably 25 in the car. Oh my gosh. You can always find a desert kid. All desert kids have at least one seatbelt burn. When the metal catches you at the wrong spot. Like, even if you had cloth seats, they were hot. But man, those leather seats, girl. We used to bring towels out to the car to sit down. Oh, rough times. But we're gonna float into some easy times today. We're also gonna jump into a little bit of fan mail. So join me for season 4, episode 21. Dynasty, The Voice, Part 2. This fan mail is hilarious. All she says at the beginning is, sparkling water, ew. What is your favorite bubbly and bright beverage? Do you drink champagne? Love the show. I am a Dallas fan. I remember watching this with my grandma and her neighbor. Thank you so much, Kima. I'm so glad that you were enjoying the show. That's so cool that you got to watch it. I'm a little bit envious. So, favorite bubbly, bright beverage. It is sparkling water. And I tell you what, you just got to choke it down. I don't want soda. So I decided to just try something else. I wanted the effect that it gave. Like, I feel like it gives me a little pick me up in the middle of the day. I love the sound of a can opening. Prefer cans over plastic bottles. Drink anything out of a glass bottle. But I prefer sparkling water. I would just advise, hey, try it. Buy yourself a little 6-pack in the can. Drink it for like 2 days. And I promise you'll start to be like, okay, this isn't bad. It's actually really good. I don't really enjoy champagne. However, in all fairness, I probably have only had champagne on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So, and I'm sure it was just whatever was available at the grocery store. Much like wine, I'm not nearly as versed in that, but I'm willing to try it. My favorite beverage ever is just water. My favorite bubbly beverage would be sparkling water. And although I don't drink champagne, I do drink beer from time to time. I would say like a Michelob Ultra. Every blue moon. Ooh, speaking of, one time some friends and I went to this bar. I can't remember what we were celebrating, but I had a blue moon with her, which is a brand. I'm assuming it's national. I don't think I've ever seen any commercials, but they serve it with an orange wedge. Very delicious if you're into that. But yeah, beer is one of those things. Every literal blue moon, once every couple years or something. All right, girl. Well, thank you for writing in. You guys can always reach out to me on the show notes. There should be a link to send us a text. I cannot respond back to you in a text, but I will respond back to you in an email. You can reach out to us at soaplorepodcast@gmail, soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. Love hearing from you. And unfortunately, we're not watching Dallas today, but we are jumping back into Dynasty. And I had a time with this one. We got to get to the bottom of the Mark Jennings thing. I got to get over my disgust for all Carrington couples. And what's going on with Kirby? I think Kirby pissed off someone in the wardrobe department. Let's jump into The Voice Part 2. Sometimes when I'm watching Dynasty, I forget that this is about a business. It's about a family, but it's also about the business. I just forget that sometimes because there is so much pleasure. Hard to separate the two. I guess the two aren't always mutually exclusive. You can find a lot of pleasure in the business you do, but that's not what we're talking about. That's not what me and you were talking about. That's not what Blake's talking about either. So the show opens up with Blake in Hong Kong. He's sitting at his desk when in walks Ahmed Rashid Ahmed. If you are a recent soap fiend like myself, you'll remember him from Falcon Crest. That's Julia's original husband who ran off on her, turned back up because he needed something. She ran off to San Francisco thinking they were going to rekindle something, She thought he wanted that old thing back. Unfortunately, he had an entire other family. Then she almost got ran through by some sailors, but her son came through and beat everybody down. It was a whole mess. Now he's back to being Ahmed Rashid Ahmed over on Dynasty. If that doesn't sound like a child support, town skipping baby daddy to me, I don't know what does. So, air quotes, Rashid comes into Blake's gorgeous penthouse. And he's like, oh my God, you're I'm not even going to do the accent because it's disrespectful regardless. I don't know who he's supposed to be. I don't know what part of Southeast Asia, what that means. That could be anywhere. But he is, why is he representing that government in Hong Kong now that I think about it? I guess that will be revealed in time. It wasn't revealed on this episode. All he wants to talk about is his dames. Man, your secretary's hot. Ooh, ooh. And you married that baddie of a wife. Ooh, and you had that baddie of an ex-wife. Blake's just trying to read a few papers. He said, look, Rashid, I don't like you. You don't like me. We're not here to talk about catch and tail. You're here to represent your government. I'm here to represent my government. Both of them very ambiguously, by the way. We don't know what party Blake is representing. Some piece of the government reached out to him to represent the party. Rashid is representing that government, and we'll keep it there. She's like, okay, you right. Let me calm down. Blake then calls his lady to check up on her. Crystal is exactly 14 and a half seconds pregnant. So she is laying down in bed in her silk robe with her doily sleeves. It's actually a really cute gown. Alexis is wearing something very similar in the next couple of scenes, but they're just chatting about what's going to happen. He's telling her to make sure she watches him on the news, make sure she gets enough rest. She's like, yeah, you too. Congratulations, Blake. This is so wonderful. I'm glad you're having a good time. I'm glad everything's going smoothly. Well, there's a knock at the door. The bellboy comes in and they're like, hey, here's your luggage that was lost. Blake's like, thank you. It seems to be an airline bag, like a nylon bag that they give all the passengers, and a briefcase. So once he hangs up with Crystal, he goes over to open the nylon bag, the airline bag, and the first thing that comes out is their hairdryer. Judging by Blake's impeccably coiffed hair, I didn't think that was unusual. I thought he was just going to unpack a bag. And then next thing you know, he pulls out a picture of Tracy and Eric Grayson. Now, this is odd because he didn't know that they knew each other, remember? Now, why this woman who doesn't know how to separate business and pleasure would walk around with physical photographic evidence in her bag, I'm sure I don't know. But Blake sees it. He quickly understands what's going on here. Like, wait a minute. So she been knew him because in the picture, she's sitting all in his lap. This is a good picture. And the fact that she's saving it means something. So right about then, Tracy comes knocking at the door and she's going on and on about how, oh my gosh, Blake, we have the same bag. I'm such a clutch. And it's a funny thing that happens. I'm sure I've already told the story, but I'm going to tell it again for the newest people. Once upon a time, I was working at this department store, and a friend that I had known, I'd worked with her previously when we were teenagers, like at the movies. She came in and she had her baby. So I'm like, oh my gosh, we're just chatting. Everything's good. Oh my gosh, girl, da 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 da. Well, there's this girl that I worked with. What can I say? Let's call her Annie. Annie is walking around looking at my friend as my friend is shopping. Now, I'm none the wiser, just kind of having a good time, doing whatever I need to do at work, basically thinking about what I'm going to do when I get off. And my friend goes into the dressing room. Mind you, I said she had a kid, so she had a stroller. She goes into the dressing room, and Annie is immediately on her scent. Annie is like 9 months pregnant, viciously beautiful, like a really pretty lady, but scary at the same time. So she's watching her. She's like, oh, she's stealing. I'm like, she's stealing? Didn't even occur to me. Sure enough, my friend was actually stealing. She ends up getting arrested. Her husband has to come and get the baby. She's like banging her head on the window. It was a horrible scene. And I felt so bad because I really didn't know. I had no idea what she was doing. And then when she came out of the dressing room, I know it was written all over my face. Like, you're about to get caught. Now, it didn't occur to me. I just assumed that Annie was a professional. She'd been working in department stores for a long time, so she could just kind of pick these things out. Now, Annie knew because it takes one to know one. Tell me why Annie has a baby maybe in the next couple of weeks. She shows up 3 days after having the baby. That to me is a scary woman. She ain't worried about nothing. She walking around with a fresh cesarean scar, working, still looking gorgeous and mean. Well, because she had a whole nother scheme. My friend, she went into the changing room and stole jeans, like hid them up under her baby stuff because she was thinking, I guess she was thinking they were going to lift up the baby. Annie would have random people come in and like, you say people, you go in the dressing room, you'd clean it out, you'd bring everything back to the counter and slowly fold it and put it away as you had time to do so. She would actually have people come in, like say they bought a t-shirt. Well, she'd put the t-shirt in the bag, but she'd also put the clothes she picked up from the dressing room, like expensive jeans, expensive bras. She put all this clothes in the bag with the person. They'd walk out and then she would sell it later. So she had this whole other operation going. Incredible. So one day I come to work and I hear about her getting arrested too. I was like, oh my God, let me get up out of here. This is a part-time job. Like, this is not that serious. But I said that to say this. The minute my friend comes walking out of the dressing room and I knew that she was stealing by that point, it makes everything they do after that almost comical. It makes it so much stranger. It makes everything you do after that so much worse. So back to Blake. Blake knows that Tracy knows Eric. He knows that Eric must have put the bug in his ear to get Tracy the job. So he just starts to kind of think maybe Crystal wasn't missing X, Y, and Z. So as Tracy comes in and she's like, oh my gosh, you're so sweet. And thank you for being the best boss ever. You're such a good guy. You're such a noble, wonderful person. It's just hidden a little bit different because now he knows she's lying in his face. So they go to dinner and she continues to try to charm him. She's also trying to get into Blake's geriatric draws. He's not into it. And God bless him. I don't know how he makes it through this entire dinner. Maybe he's just, he's a full grown man. He don't have time to be like raging all the time. But they're making it through dinner and he takes about as much as he can. Then he has to leave to make a phone call. She decides to remove an earring, the old earring okie doke. So they get back to his hotel. They're standing in the hallway. She's making up some fake Mandarin. Oh, this means goodbye. I like you. You're the best boss ever. Giggling. It's just team too much. She's exposing herself. Then she goes to do the sweep the hair behind the ear because I'm bashful. And that's when she realizes, in air quotes, that she's lost her earring. The earring that she snatched off when he went to take the phone call. So she says, oh my gosh, Blake, I must have lost my earring. You're such a gentleman not to point it out to me all night. Can I go in your hotel room and find it? Sure. So she goes in and it's in her fist. Obviously, she palms it. She pretends to pick it up. She puts it on her ear. And he's like, Tracy, do you know why I didn't say anything? Well, you're a gentleman, but yes, I'm curious. Because you had on earrings the whole night. See, I love earrings. I look at earrings all the time. That's what I notice more than anything. I'm paraphrasing here. You've had that the whole time. And she's like, well, okay. 2 choices here. I can deny it or I can play into it. So she's like, well, F it. Let me play into it. He knows I have the earring, no big deal. She goes, well, I'm really curious about you too, Blake. I mean, I like to go after what I want. He goes, oh, well, let's call it the Erickson, whatever. He basically outs her for knowing who vague government guy Eric Grayson is. And she admits to it. She's like, yes, I know who he is. And yes, we had an intimate relationship. I believe in going after who I want in intimate relationships. He quickly fires her. He has a check on hand. He says, you know what? Good luck getting back to Denver tomorrow. You're going to need to find a ride from Hong Kong to Denver. Figure it out. Here's a check. I just bought out your contract. And if that's not enough, I want you to contact my finance department. He's very firm with her. He's like, I know I'm rugged and handsome and sexy and enticing and I'm irresistible. I get it. But I don't play these games, young lady. He scolds her, but all I'm thinking is, do you think she's going to be honest about that check? Because right after I tell a story about two people stealing, by the way, that's not my ministry. Listen, I need a good bed. I need soft pillows. I could not be in jail. That's not my thing. But I wonder if Tracy will call and be like, y'all shorted me about $28,000. I got a little ahead of myself. I have to say though, Tracy, it's almost a fool's errand. I don't understand why she would go for Blake other than that this is a soap opera. Like, she had everything. And honest to God, she is a better candidate. She was a better choice for that particular company. She could have just gone to Alexis, I don't know if Alexis hires broads. She seems to like tall, dark, and handsome only. So I don't know. But speaking of Alexis and who she does and doesn't hire, we got to talk about Mark Jennings. I cannot decide if he is the creme de la creme of side dudes, or is he like the worst employee ever? I guess these two things could also be, they're not mutually exclusive. So we see Mark walking around Alexis' penthouse in a robe. He's going over to the TV to turn it on, about to have himself a little brekkie. I guess he's making too much noise, or just his presence sort of annoys Alexis. She comes out of her room telling him to be quiet. She's got a hangover and he needs to calm down. She says this, mind you, as she's picking up a silver platter, clanging it around, making all the noise. You can tell that Mark has slipped in and out of many a woman's bedroom, probably many a married woman's bedroom, so he's quite light on his feet. I didn't hear anything. His thick Selleck mustache is masking his chewing sounds. I don't know what she's talking about, but he says, can I watch sports news on the TV? No, Mark. TV turns on. It happens to be Blake. So this is where I got ahead of myself. There's a press conference where you can see Tracy in the background, Blake, and Rashid Ahmed. And Blake is explaining to the world at large how there are these southeastern oil wells. They're going to begin drilling. I'm not doing this on behalf of a country, even though I work for a country. I'm doing this for myself. It'll be good for all involved. Blah, blah, blah. Alexis can't believe this. Like, wait a minute. There's no way. He is using his political power to get ahead of the game. He shouldn't be able to do that. I should have had a chance to bid on those. So she feels away and immediately starts thinking about how to get back at Blake. Mark, in the meantime, still wants to watch sports ball. But she sends him to his bedroom. So he grabs a few extra croissants and some fruit and some eggs and whatnot. And he starts heading to his bedroom where he can watch his own TV. Is he the K-Fed of side dudes? Or, I don't want to call anybody a deadbeat, but I'm just saying, of men who are getting by on their looks or the swivel of their hips, did he hit the jackpot here? Because think about it, he's not that great of an employee. He's never really in the room long enough. She stays kicking him out of a conversation. She stays kicking him out of her house, or her living room. He has to go to his room all the time. But he has the freedom to come and go as he pleases. I think he doesn't work at La Mirage, but he definitely hangs out at the gym. She told him last week, didn't he have some muscles to pump or something? He has endless snacks. He gets to go to the opera sometimes. I mean, I think he's kind of got it made in the shade. Has he ever actually protected her? No. Dex Dex don't believe in doors. Dex walked right into her house, cussed Mark out. He got sent to his room. I'm like, who are you protecting? He got really lucky that one time being in the right place at the right time. He got really lucky, hit the jackpot because he's tried to sleep. I don't know if he slept with Fallon. That's irrelevant. Anyway, phone rings, or Alexis gets on the phone, and Mark goes in the other room, but he's not as slick as he thinks he is. He's actually picked up the line, and she can hear him. She hears it click over. Rookie mistake. Everyone knows, especially if you are an elder millennial, if you want to eavesdrop on your sister's conversation, the move is to wait till they're already on the phone to pick it up. You just have to ear hustle from the door. If you want to eavesdrop back in the day on the telephone, you got to be conscious of the little clicker on the cradle. So when you hang up the phone, you can hear it. It's audible. You can hear it on the other end. You can hear it in the room. What you do, or what you could have done back in my day, was you shout to the person, "Hey, you have a phone call." And you just hold the receiver in the other room. Like, you don't actually hang it up. You only shout so that the person on the phone can hear you shouting for the other person. And then once they pick up the phone, you pretend like you're not listening. Like, do you have it? You wait for them to say they have it. And then you just listen. And then you hang up when they hang up. If you really want to ear hustle. Not that I'm condoning it. Gosh, I feel like I have to say this out loud. I do not condone shoplifting. I do not condone blackmail. I do not condone taking an extra $30,000 from your employer. I do not condone ear hustling on the phone. Unless, of course, it's on TV. Anyway, he's busted. She calls him out and she's like, "Listen, I can hear you slinking around listening to all of my conversation. What do you want?" He's like, "Well, Alexis, I'm only listening because you are such a smart businesswoman. You see, I've saved up 20 grand and I want to make something of myself. I can't be a bodyguard forever. I want to make something of myself. So I thought if I just kind of watch you a little bit more and pay attention to what you do, I can do what you do." And she's flattered. She's like, "Well, you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with making a little money. I understand that. But you got to do it the right way, Mark. Listen, go get cleaned up. Get ready. We're going to leave for Hong Kong tomorrow. And then you can watch this money. I'm about to make a lot more money, but I need you to protect some money that I'm bringing." He's like, "How much money?" I feel like she said that only so she could say this. "Much more than $20,000. And it'll be much more grand. You don't have to rub it in his face. He knows he's a quote unquote broke boy compared to you. But is he? Is he? He's kind of living the high life, if you ask me. But he does give off that K-Fed vibes. Like, he's hit the jackpot. Let me just, play my part until she gets rid of me, and then maybe I could finagle some sort of support. I think that's the case in a lot of things. You don't have to outdo anybody. You just have to not make the wrong move. Think about Claudia. Claudia is a 2-time insane asylum resident who is fully aware of her emotions, fully aware of how she's perceived, fully aware of how she communicates. She's keeping that in check lest she be perceived as insane. There's about 4 people on this show who are probably insane, who are not nearly as self-aware as my girl. She's trying her best. So it just makes this sort of telephone torment that much more difficult. So she's minding her business. She's at the La Mirage. Crystal comes by dressed in all black. At first I thought she had on a judge's robe or a Baptist pastor's robe, all black. No. She just has on like crushed velvet or something. I don't know. She decided she's going to wear black on black on black. I don't know who she's burying later, but it is what it is. It is a far cry from Crystal and Cream. So she comes by to have lunch with Claudia, and Claudia's like, "Yeah, girl, let me get my bag." But she turns and she sees someone from behind. She quickly believes it's Lindsay. Now, I didn't think it was Lindsay because I watched season 1. Lindsay's a 14-year-old, very dramatic 14-year-old with very light blonde hair. I thought this could be a new face, new Steven thing. I doubt she'd be standing in the middle of La Mirage, though. So Claudia gets all beside herself, runs over to the girl, spins her around, and this is Any Face Annie from Appalachia. I don't know where this girl's from. She looks like Annie. I don't know who she looks like. Claudia quickly apologizes, like, "I'm so sorry. I used to know someone just like you, right about your height. She used to wear dresses and shoes." I'm like, Claudia, that's not enough evidence, but if you say so. Crystal's looking in the background like, God, I should have never slept with Matthew and sent this lady to the loony bin. This is a disaster. It's a fiasco, but she keeps it together. I am going to skip ahead though. So there's a scene a little later on. Claudia is trying to get some work done. She and Fallon are in Fallon's office when the phone rings. Somebody's playing on the damn phone again. Fallon picks up the phone. It's for Claudia, passes it to Claudia, not even thinking twice. And then you hear, Claudia, we need you, darling. We're a family. Matthew, my hips don't lie, Matthew is on the phone. She immediately begins to freak out. And she's like, Fallon, call the cops. I'm thinking, on what line? But then I remember this is a hotel, so there's other phones. Fallon does that thing you do when you don't really want to do something. Like maybe you start moving a little too slow. You start reaching for the elevator button to stop it, wink, wink. But you don't really reach for it. You know, the person is way too far and you know they can't really see what your hand is doing. She's running out the door, but it's a soap opera. So she has to stop and swing her hair over her shoulder. And right about that time, Claudia announces that they hung up. I wonder if Fallon's like, oh my God, I can't fire her because this is my sister-in-law, but we're going to have to figure out something. I can't keep having these emotional outbursts. I'm doing my own stuff here. The calls to torment her continue, and it's just devastating. Claudia's probably not going to get fired, but somebody did. Alexis goes to work, and in walks this blonde kid. I thought it was Steven. Dressed a little formal for work. I thought it was new face Steven. And then he starts talking. I'm like, oh, that's even newer face Steven. Thought they had replaced him again. I'm like, damn, I wonder what's going on instead of Dynasty. Alexis says, what is it, Jason? He goes, I'm not Jason. Jason left last Friday. I'm Lloyd. So Lloyd looks like he could be Steven's stunt double or brother or something. She keeps a male staff, and I can appreciate that. Well, while they're talking, in walks, you guessed it, Dex Dexter. Dex Dexter doesn't check in. Dex Dexter doesn't make appointments. Dex Dexter knows when you're having an appointment, he's going to burst through your doors. Well, he comes walking in, but he walks in with a gift. Hey, Foxy Mama, he says. You want to go to LA with me? A little business for our business. A little pleasure for our pleasure. I'm using creative liberties here. She opens a box, and it is a bushel of... not a bushel. What is it called? A bouquet of lilies. Actually, I learned on this episode that it is a corsage of lilies. I didn't realize corsages were sold year round. I thought that was, well, I don't know. I don't know if I knew that. It makes sense as I say it out loud. Maybe for weddings, but I didn't know people bought corsages outside of prom. Well, he bought her a tiny little corsage of violets or lilies, whatever the hell is scaring Claudia. She puts them in her little bowl, and she's like, oh, honey, I'm busy. I'm so busy, but you have fun in LA with them little young bikini girls. And he says, honey, no. I dropped them a long time ago. When I fell in love with you, we're exclusive, baby. It's me and you and me only. She doesn't disagree, but she also doesn't validate. They end up kissing. She also doesn't mention that she's about to get on the first thing smoking and head over to Hong Kong to handle some business. She keeps it to herself. Steven stops by the office later, and she just wants to let him know that she's about to head over to Hong Kong. She apologizes. She's like, I'm real sorry that you and Claudia are going through what y'all are going through. I know you went down to South America. Now, I hope y'all can leave this in the past at this point. Steven's like, Mom, I would love to, but like somebody's harassing her. Hopefully it stops. I don't know. She goes, okay, well, let me tell you about your trifling father. Do you know, I just saw your daddy on TV talking about he bought up all these Asian oil wells. He didn't even give me a chance to do it. And Steven's like, oh, that's really messed up. We should have the opportunity. She's like, I know. That's why I'm going to Hong Kong. And Steven's like, Mom, if I don't know anything, I know Dad doesn't really snoop and steal, which I believe that tracks. It's like, the person you need to be mad at is Adam. She's not trying to hear that. She's like, oh, it doesn't matter who did it. It's done. Now I got to go undo it. Now I got to pack my stuff, fly halfway across the world and do something about it. Steven's looking at her, and behind her, he can see the corsage of violets. And he's like, where you get them flowers from? She's like, God, Stephen, calm down. Dexter sent them to me. Oh, did he now? She's like, man. Anyway, I'm going to Hong Kong. Handle stuff while I'm out. Seems like, all right. But I suppose he decides to just sit in her office, if I'm understanding this right. Of course, there are scenes that come and go in between this, but he seems to just hang out in the office. He's ready to get to the bottom of this because, I mean, he witnessed it for himself a little bit on the episode where he decided to go with Claudia down to South America. Remember, they were told, or here's the car, no sign of them. There's a lot of wild animals. I'm sorry, we think they're gone. Okay, I feel like I got to tell this in order, else it won't make sense. So Alexis had made Lloyd, or Jason, call over to Hong Kong. She wanted the best hotel possible. She also wanted Rashid Ahmed to hang around. She knows that Blake is on his way back to Denver, and so does Crystal, who's at the house. Now, Crystal's wardrobe is a little bit different. We saw her in head-to-toe black, which she doesn't really do. She's sitting at breakfast the morning that Blake is supposed to come home in this really weird sort of mauve, weird lace, 116-layer robe for no reason. She's about to eat. Adam comes downstairs and she's like, hey, Adam. She jumps up. He's like, I hope you're not leaving on my behalf. She's like, no, I just got to get ready. I want to meet Blake at the airport. So Adam tells one of the house staff, I'm really hungry today. Can I have a lot of food? It's like that sometimes, Adam. I hear you. Yeah, sometimes just give me a whole bunch. Whatever you're going to give me, give it to me like triple. Well, in walks Kirby, and she is as giddy as she can possibly be. Something about her is off, and I'm like, what the hell? It almost looks like she walked in from another dimension. So she starts talking to Adam. She's like, hey, I did a little research without the internet and found out that my mother was in an insane asylum in Bismarck, North Dakota. Now, I want to fly over there today to do a little more research and see where she is. And I want you to go with me. You told me you couldn't go with me because Blake was out of the office, but now that he's coming back, I want you to go. Adam's like, honey, I think you should let this go. She immediately sort of flips on him, like, why? Is this the one part of me you can't take? You can't take that my mother was in an insane asylum? You don't want to deal with that part of me? First and foremost, she looks like she walked out of a different dimension. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but as I watch, they've got her in like a gray tones. She looks a lot like the lady from the Helen Keller story that I go on and on about, a school marm from 17th or 18th or 19th century Georgia. It looks like they superimposed her face and hands on like a black and white film, but everybody else is in color. It's whatever. I don't know why they got her just like this, like Wednesday Adam. But this request for Adam, okay, cool. I understand that you're embracing all this, but think about it. Adam definitely has, I don't know if he spent time in an insane asylum. He has gone insane. His father has one attempted murder charge, one murder charge under his belt. His mom has somebody trying to kill her. Joseph tried to kill his mother. I mean, her mom being in the insane asylum is probably the most mellow version of their family tree, if you think about it. That's the last thing anybody needs to be worried about. Also, Adam does not know how to do gentle contact. He goes to hug her and he's like, Kirby. He kind of grabs her a little too rough, damn near tackles her. Okay, honey, no, I love you. I'll go with you. I'll be with you. So I suppose this morning they're going to get on the PJ and they're going to fly up to Bismarck, North Dakota. I hate that I even have to say this. Do you remember when the Colbys, that's another thing. Can we just stop just for a second? When Kirby walks in the room, the maid says, Mrs. Colby, would you like breakfast? No, says Kirby. I'd like to talk to Mr. Carrington. There are too many people in this house with the same name for the wrong reason. The very next scene is the other Colbys, the divorced Colbys. So think about it. You have Crystal, Grant, Jennings, Carrington, technically, I guess they got married twice. You got Kirby, Anders, Colby, about to be Carrington. So Kirby, Anders, Colby, Carrington. You'll have Claudia, Blaisdell, Carrington. Then you got this fool Jeff and Fallon, who've come in from either skiing or riding horses. He has on riding boots. I'm going to assume that's what they did. They seem to have on a lot of layers. They get to the landing on the stair step, and he's like, would you marry me again? And I'm like, oh my God, with this. Here we go again with this. Jeff, this woman, you are a filler. Jeff is like a delicious, if you ever go to a party and someone lays out Ritz and maybe they put tuna, sometimes they put ham, they put jam. You can dress up a Ritz any way you want, and it's delicious. It's a nice little snack. You're probably never going to turn it down unless there's a real meal there. Fallon wants a real meal, preferably a geriatric one if she can get it. Jeff is good. You just need to understand you are the hors d'oeuvre. You are the doormat. You are the denim doormat. You know damn well the minute, and I do mean the second, she sees another man who is even mildly interesting, minutely dangerous, his ass is to the curb. But he's, would you want to marry me again? You know, I'm a good dad and all that. You're too young, first off. You're too boring, second off. No. She don't want you. She don't want you because you want her. But she's like, oh, I don't know, Jeff. I think it could be wonderful. Let's think about it. So you going to be Fallon, Carrington, Colby, hyphen Kobe. Do you know how embarrassing that is? I think, I know the marriage clerk hates to see these people coming. Can you imagine? And that's my thing. Everybody is married and divorced within 2 months. Y'all break up to make up to make up to break up. I can't deal with this. As a matter of fact, I think you should just, if you're going to remarry the same person, we ain't refiling it. I'm not refiling nothing. I'm just going to put like a stamp, just like a passport stamp on your marriage license. Get the hell out of here. We'll just put a new year on it. A new sticker with a new year. Because y'all going to, this finna be dissolved or, what's the word? Annulled in the next, if in 14 months anyway. I'm not going to keep doing this paperwork. Especially back in the day, you have to type it all out again. You couldn't just copy and paste? Absolutely not. But it is my duty to report that they are entertaining this foolishness. Now back to Bismarck. Adam accompanies Kirby to Bismarck, North Dakota. Oddly enough, she found a sepia-toned cardigan to cover her sepia-toned outfit. I don't know why this girl is dressed like this. I can't stress it enough, but it did make me, I came up with a theory. Hear me out. After this, they go to a newspaper station and it's taking a little bit of time and she's a little bit nervous, so she's kind of walking back and forth. Adam tells her to relax. The guy is a newspaper editor. I'm sure someone had to stop. Like, he's probably talking to reporters too. We did come in the middle of his workday unannounced, so I mean, it's going to take a little time. Adam's not wrong. Also, they're looking for this information by hand, I'm sure, so that takes time as well. Eventually, the editor comes out and he hands Kirby an article that explains that yes, her mother was once upon a time in the asylum there. So let him tell it. The mom, yes, had been in the insane asylum, but she was evaluated and released just 6 months ago. She was released as a sane woman just 6 months ago. So I don't know what the timeline is looking like of supposed assault tracks. I'm glad I went back and watched this a second time because I didn't actually catch that the first time. It wasn't making sense to me while Joseph would be like, hey, let me go ahead and end this. So Kirby's like, great. So she's released 6 months ago. Do you know where she is? He's like, yeah, I do actually. Got the address. I have to recall that this is 1984. So I suppose rental cars were not as luxe as they are today. Or maybe Adam knew a guy. I don't know. But they pull up in a doo-doo brown beater. Almost a beater. It's got this like gold and orange stripe down the side. It is a typical 70s and 80s land yacht. It isn't hideous, but it's not nearly as nice as the other cars. It's very inconspicuous, I suppose. So Kirby pulls up to the graveyard. I forgot to tell y'all that. And she's creeped out by this woman who's laying flowers down. And the woman says, hey, who are you looking for? Kirby says she's looking for Alicia Anders. And the woman points over, several graves over. I'm now thoroughly creeped out because, madam, do you live here? She was a little bit creepy to me. Madam, do you live here? Well, she walks over to Kirby. She looks a little shocked at first. And this is an older woman. Like, I think she's too old to be her mom. Well, I guess she couldn't be too old to be her mom. I don't know. Maybe that's her. I don't know. I don't know who she is, but she's an older woman, she claims. that she and Alicia were friends, and that she knows who she is because when her mother was in the insane asylum, she made this rag doll and she dressed it up and she called it Kirby. The woman claims that she walked around with this rag doll named Kirby, and she went to go look for Kirby and her dad. And then, unfortunately, she expired within these last 6 months. This is all very sad. Kirby even started having a flashback. But my trifling TV loving behind is fixated on the word ragdoll. Tell me why my next thought is, when your mom went nuts, she made herself a ragdoll. Call that thing baby Kirby. Now you dress just like the way she dressed that ragdoll. Little dark and real creepy. Ignore me, do not pay me any mind, but I'm sorry, I love that movie. And I don't hear the word river or ragdoll without hearing River Deep Mountain High. It is impossible. But yeah, Kirby's mom was walking around with a ragdoll, probably dressed like the way Kirby's dressed now. I wonder who she pissed off in wardrobe. It's very distracting. But the even bigger distracting take is that, okay, now I need a timeline, because all of these things in and of themselves don't actually require Joseph to expire. Seems like that's kind of going off the deep end based on the person he appeared to be. But is this the big secret? Like, if she's dead, then who cares? Even if she died a little bit later. I mean, oh God, that sounded really insensitive. You know what I'm saying, though? Like, it doesn't change the fact Kirby still doesn't have a mom. Yes, she was alive at some point, but she was also in an insane asylum. Is there another secret? There has to be something a little bit juicier than this. I don't want to seem ungrateful. 2 deaths and a weird scene at a cemetery is enough. But now Kirby, she started having these little flashbacks. She could hear Alexis talking cash crazy about her mama. Now she's in her feelings. But let the record reflect, there was no lies told. Not by Alexis, at least. I mean, yeah, she was having a little too much fun with the information, but I don't know. It seems like they jumped off the deep end. Plus, knowing the story that, Mr. Revere wanted a couple more scenes, and they're like, no. Not only are you not getting any more scenes, we're going to have you try to kill Alexis, and then you're going to expire. Tragic. Okay, speaking of Alexis again, remember when I told you Steven was just chilling in the office? Well, I know that to be a fact because Dexter comes bursting through the doors a little later on. He's going to walk into Alexis's office, but New Lloyd says, hey, do you want to leave a message? I'll let her know when she gets back from Hong Kong. Dex like, Hong Kong? Who's in Hong Kong? Here comes Steven, real Steven, head pops out of the office like, hey, Dex, did you come by to leave my mom some flowers? You want to give her some flowers? And Dexter's looking at me, boy, I mean, yeah, I guess I could. Steven's like, oh, you're going to send violets? Is that your style? And Dex kind of turns to face him. He wasn't going to say them, but he turns to face him like, okay, what is this? Or orchids or whatever I want, actually. Why don't you come on in this office, Dexter? Dex walks in. He's like, what do you want? I love it. This is a grown man with no time to play. So he walks in this office. And Steven's like, your dad used to work for my dad, right? So he knows Matthew Blaisdell. I think it's kind of funny that you guys have the same voice. Why do you guys kind of sound the same? And Dex is like, oh, I don't know, because we come from the same state. It's not uncommon. It's called an accent. And Steven's like, you don't like me very much, do you? And Dex like, you know what? Now that you bring it up, no. I don't. Ever since the first time I met you, I came off a trip with your mama. You was puffing your chest out at me. I don't like the way you look at me. I don't like the way you present yourself to me, sir. And you know what I don't do? I made it my business a long time ago to not like people who don't like me. I'm not going to put in the effort. That's some wisdom. I feel like that's something you learn between the ages of like 27 and 31. You just understand that it's okay. Sometimes you're not going to mesh well with everybody. Everybody doesn't have to be your friend. You don't have to keep up with everybody. You don't have to be hateful. You can be respectful. You can live your life. Just like good old Dexy Dex is doing. I don't like you. You don't like me. And that's where we're going to keep it. Well, Steven's like, well, you better not hurt my mother. And you better not be making those phone calls to my wife. Dex is like, listen, whatever's going on with your wife, it's really messed up. It's very lousy. I don't do that. Trust and believe. I'm not the one or the two. Goodbye. So he leaves, and we need to flip back to the moment. Do you remember when I told you that Fallon was looking at Claudia like, dang, I can't really fire her. This was kind of weird. Claudia had got that phone call. Well, the way it's positioned in this episode, Claudia gets a phone call. She's freaking out. She's trying to calm herself down. Fallon is looking like, dang, I don't know about all this. And then you see a man's beautiful, strong hand at a payphone, sort of hesitates, then he picks up the phone. And when they zoom out, I'm like, oh my God, I was watching it and cooking, and I'm like, oh my God, who is it? What is it? It's Dex. What you're not going to do, Dynasty, is have me ever believe that's the case. I think this is just, they shot it that way. So you're like, oh my God, is Dex making crank phone calls? No, Dex is calling Hong Kong to figure out what hotel his lady love is in. He's going to go over to Hong Kong to confront Alexis up front. Now, there's a lot to deduce from this. Number one, it is quite obvious Dex is way more into her than she is to him. I think part of the reason she keeps Mark around is because there is sort of this tension. She knows that Mark wants her. She kind of wants him, but she just needs him around to boost her ego. I don't think she feels the same way about Dex, but also I don't know. He takes this far more serious. I think, going back to sort of my opening statement, I forget that this is about business sometimes. I forget that this is about running these two giant corporations. When you think about Blake allegedly was a Derrick hand. He worked his way, started from the bottom, now he's up at the top. Where Alexis has always sort of been this carefree, wealthy woman who's been in all the right circles, but it isn't because she has all this business knowledge, it's because she understands people. For better or worse, she knows how to push the buttons, she knows what rooms to be in, she knows how to put that ish on, she knows how to make herself alluring and enticing. She knows all the things. So I forget that when it comes to business, she is a little bit behind the curve. She may not know all the things. She may not know how to navigate everything, but she knows who to pick and who to keep in her corner so that the right things are picked properly. You know what I'm saying? She's playing a totally different game. Now, I'm sure over time she will gain this business knowledge, but where Mark is just to feed her ego and maybe put someone in a chokehold if he happens to be allowed in the room at the same time she's being choked, is Dexter just like her business boy? Is that what he is? I don't know. But I'm here for it either way. He's gonna be mad because when Alexis does finally get to Hong Kong, she did have this whole suite, which Mark knew about, because Mark feels more like her stepson, who she just happens to have to keep around for some reason. He's like, hey, I thought we were getting a suite. He's like, we are getting a suite, but this is your room. You have an outside entrance. You're going to stay over here. And we have adjoining rooms. We have a adjoining door. If I so feel like you need to come in there, I'll open the door and let you in. But you need to stay in your room and mind your business. Once again, she is sunning him. So, oh God. So, she goes into her room. Everything is set aside. It is lush. It is beautiful. It is all that. No sooner than she gets a little bit settled, in walks Rashid Ahmed. Rashid is like, hey, you're so hot. You're so tempting. You're also so vague. What do you want me here for? She said something about $5 million. He's trying to get her in the sack. She's like, I'm too tired for all that. You can just watch me sleep if you really, really want to. But I'm not going to hook up with you. I think they end up hooking up, but I was sort of fixated on the $5 million because there was a scene I left out where Blake is talking about how much money he has to raise in order to buy all these wells. It's something like $100 million, but one day out, he's already got like $50 million. He just needs a few more people. People are calling in left and right. It's an overflow. So I'm like, what is she going to do with $5 million? I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. In my haste, I forgot to tell you guys my theory on my girl Colby Carrington, the ragdoll. I don't really understand where her wardrobe choices are coming from. They are very much little prairie, but antique. That's the word I'll use. It's antique. Even for 1980, these are clearly outfits, in my personal opinion, from 1860, 1880. So I started looking at her when I said her face looked like it was superimposed upon a black and white film noir. It hit me. She looks a whole lot like Wednesday Addams. I'm not one for conspiracy theories. I'm not one for this metaverse flip-flopping outside of my comics, but I'll entertain this thought. What if Kirby's baby didn't actually die? Hear me out. Remember when Adam was in the hospital, hooping and hollering and carrying on, praying, confessing that he was a rapist and all that? He just wanted his baby girl to live. Remember when Kirby tried everything under the sun, falling downstairs, ignoring preeclampsia, sweating like bad fish in a ice bucket? I don't even know what that means. She was walking around looking gray and pale and damn near death, but no one noticed because there was a second wedding of these freaking Carrington people. Anyway, what if Kirby gives birth to this baby and somehow Adam's weird prayer works? There's a weird doctor who's been selling like boob jobs or formula or something on the side. That well is dried up, so she has to come up with another solution. So she starts stealing babies who she could tell the mother didn't want them. So they tell Kirby and Adam that their baby is deceased, only she's not. She is sent away to an orphanage, and it is immediately clear that she is weird, that she has this strange sort of creepy doll effect to her, and all of her clothes are gothic and antique. The nurse takes a little bit of pity on her. She knows her mother's name is Kirby, but she thinks that's a weird name. She knows that there's going to be a Nintendo game and a vacuum cleaner in the very near future with those same names. So she decides to name her Wednesday for the day she was born. And in honor of her father, she just calls her Adam. Wednesday Adam. Sends her off to an asylum and to an orphanage. The baby creeps out all the other babies. And this couple from France has recently moved to the US and they need to acclimate pretty quickly. They're creepy, they're weird, they're wearing all black and stuff. But you know what? This baby fits their aesthetic. Plus, they're loaded. They pay buku money for a baby. And then, ladies and gentlemen, that is how we get Christina Ricci's version of Wednesday in the 1991 film, The Addams Family Values. Or is it just the regular Addams Family? I'm just saying. Somebody borrowed this aesthetic and listen very carefully. Because I grew up hanging around old people, I've seen the original Addams Family a lot. And the original Wednesday, what was that, circa 1960, 1950 something? She was a little more funny. She was a little more jovial. She had a sense of humor. Christina Ricci, millennial icon, or she's a zillennial icon, but she played the hell out of Wednesday, and I love the new Wednesday too. But it is Kirby's face, Kirby's aesthetic. Isn't that the perfect formula for Wednesday? Circa 1991. Now, I did the math. This show was shot in 1984. That movie was from 1991. Yes, I think Wednesday was supposed to be about 9 or 10. But this baby would read as an older child because she's so stoic and creepy. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, party people, thank you so much for joining me for another fun-filled edition of Soaplore. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode of Dynasty. You always need a little shine, a little camp in between some of the more serious storylines. Join me next time as we jump back into some vintage primetime drama and debauchery. In the meantime, in between time, if you're a beautiful man with Elvis hips, go for the older ladies. You get trips to Hong Kong. You're going to get stellar breakfasts. You're going to get caviar sandwiches, a gym membership. All you got to do is not say anything dumb. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business, and keep all of your drama on TV.